Vikings embarking on their third divisional game of the year, taking on the Chicago Bears on the road at Soldier Field, as this video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Chicago is trying their very best to escape the gates of hell. They started the year off 4-2. Since that time, 4 straight losses. And historically speaking, when the Vikings are put in this situation, going up against a team that's reeling, fighting for their lives, historically speaking, the Vikings always find a way to slip on the invisible banana peel and getting that other team right back on track. I think it's going to be different this time around because we know that the defense is going to show up. Following the 2-game losing streak against the Lions, against the Rams, the Vikings have allowed just 11 points per game. Meanwhile, the Bears, during their 4-game losing streak, their offense, 11.5 points per game. They're struggling. We're talking about 2 teams right now going in completely opposite directions. And for Chicago, you have Matt Eberflus, the head coach, who I do believe is on the hot seat. They just fired their offensive coordinator a week and a half ago. Meanwhile, you look at the other side, the Vikings, you have KOC, talked about this yesterday, how he should be the front runner for Coach of the Year. Mathematically speaking, they're still in the hunt to win the NFC North Division. They're going to be in the playoffs. Everything's trending upwards for the Vikings while everything's going downwards for the Bears. With that said, don't be complacent. Chicago has a damn good defense, top 10 versus the pass, also top 10 in scoring defense. Meanwhile, you don't know on a game-by-game basis if you're going to get either good Sam or bad Sam Darnold. This really is going to come down to, I believe, which quarterback does a better job of taking care of the football. Sam Darnold leads the league in total turnovers. Meanwhile, Caleb Williams, he's been struggling, facing the number 1 defense in forcing turnovers, at least tied with Buffalo anyway. Although Buffalo, they're tied with Minnesota in takeaways. Buffalo has played 1 more game, 11 to the 10 that Minnesota has played so far. It's going to be a defensive battle, a nasty game. It's going to be close. Chicago, they're 3-point underdogs. I do believe that the Vikings will get this win. However, Chicago will cover the spread at the same time. Sign up for BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. Just use the promo code YouTube150. And now to go completely off script from what it is that I typically do on Vikings versus opponent preview videos, I'm going to react to something produced by ESPN that was presented to me by the Purple Persuasion. If you don't follow them on Twitter, I highly suggest that you do at TPP Skull. They're a great one-stop shop for all things Vikings news, just microwavable meat and potatoes information, and all of the information that they pull from articles, podcasts, YouTube videos. They properly document those sources. So you want to go beyond the quick hitters. Hey, here it is right here to get the whole scope of that information. Sometimes they get flack, but I think they do a great job. From ESPN, Jeremy Fowler. Will the Bengals pay Jamar Chase? They absolutely should. Chase is making a compelling argument as the league's best receiver, chasing the Triple Crown with 73 catches for 1,056 yards and 12 touchdowns. Though Justin Jefferson has been the consensus top receiver over the past 2 years, many scouts and coaches believe Chase strikes more fear in opponents because of his big play ability. He's validating that belief, which means the price tag only goes up. Respectfully, this is why ESPN is failing. How are you getting this information? First off, Jeremy Fowler, are coaches and scouts by the masses just approaching you unprompted saying, hey, Jeremy, you got to get the word out? Jamar Chase strikes more fear in his opponents than Justin Jefferson. It sounds like something coming from his agent, which makes sense, but let's say this is true. Or maybe you are approaching these many NFL scouts and agents saying, hey, does Jamar Chase strike more fear in opponents than Justin Jefferson? But let's say this is true, that NFL scouts, many NFL scouts and coaches are saying that. How is this relevant to the readers? We're power ranking fear now? Ain't no cornerback in the world sitting there saying when they are playing up against the Vikings, mano a mano, pre-snap against Justin Jefferson, 18. Ain't no cornerback in the league saying, oh man, this is tough, but thankfully I'm not going up against Jamar Chase right now. Conversely, no cornerback in the league is playing up against Jamar Chase, mano a mano, pre-snap, watching him saying, hey, oh my God, this is too much to handle. I would much rather deal with Justin Jefferson right now. Are you kidding me? No cornerback is saying that except for Jair Alexander, who's completely delusional. He's got the little brother syndrome and just wants to be involved. But I tell you what, Jeremy Fowler, ESPN, if defenses truly did fear Jamar Chase ahead of a guy like Justin Jefferson, they sure as hell don't play like it. Head coach Kevin O'Connell literally just talked about this on a podcast a couple of days ago where he said, listen, I watch all 22 film across the league. Respectfully speaking to the other receivers out there, no receiver faces what Jefferson has to face on a game-by-game basis. I'm willing to have a conversation. I'm willing to entertain the discourse of Justin Jefferson versus Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill or any other receiver as far as who you want to say is the top dog. That's fine. As far as stats, or we can talk about the quarterback play that Jamar Chase has had. Joe Burrow, one of the best in the league. Jefferson having to deal with Nick Mullins after Kirk Cousins went down last year, and Josh Dobbs, and having to do the best he can with a guy like Sam Darnold. I'm willing to entertain all of that. But don't talk to me about some damn fear. And this is why ESPN is failing. Across the country, barbershops and gyms, they've got your channels on lock. You can say whatever it is that you want on there. They're not going to care. But as far as why it is that ESPN is not a factor anymore when it comes to individual consumers, when they're at their house or they're listening through podcasts or whatever, it's because they have more choices, better choices. We are no longer forced to sit there and absorb sports content for at least 2.5 hours a day listening to the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, the Dallas Cowboys. What do they need to do to improve? Should they fire the entire coaching staff? What do they need to do with the roster? Screw the Cowboys. They're one of the worst teams in the league. There are better topics to talk about. And when you're not talking about the Cowboys, you're bringing up all these goofy ass takes where we're power ranking fear. Huh? Is Madden going to include a fear skill set in a player's attributes moving forward? So I guess for Jeremy Fowler, Jamar Chase, his fear rating on Madden is a whole ass 99. Hot damn. Justin Jefferson? Oh, what, a 90? No, that's too bad. Give me a break. Shout out to the folks at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. We'll see you next time. Fear. Ha!